Round 8 of the NRL for footytips.com.au. Brett Kimmorley alongside Sam Bruce. Brett, we kick off round 8 with the Bulldogs and Tigers out there at ANZ Stadium.
Yeah, it should be a great clash. Obviously for the Dogs, they get a few players back. Josh Morris missed last week through injury. He'll be expected to play. I think a big return is Sam Cassiano, who got suspended from the big clash against the Rabbitohs a few weeks ago. So Dogs get a bit of a lift. They did have a win last week. There's obviously a very deep thinker, and I think both halves for the Dogs under pressure need to start playing well for rep duty. With the Tigers, you think about the 22-0 point lead they had at the first half. You think about the positive. So they were playing extremely well. They got beat in the second half. I think player pride will restore the fact that they will want to bounce back, and I'm going to tip the Tigers for the only Friday night game.
A big Saturday of Anzac Day football starts with the Warriors and Titans over there at Mount Smart Stadium. Brett, Warriors were just pipped up there by the Cowboys, while the Titans had that big win over the Panthers.
Yeah, I thought the Titans, it's the best game they've played football for the last number of seasons. They've got some players back, their pre-season dramas with the court and the drug suspension, all starting to return. I thought Kane Elgey for the Titans was a definite star last week. I think he's a halfback of the future. Builds a game plan extremely well. I thought the Warriors, that's the best they've played for a number of weeks consistently as well. They had a great win against the Tigers. They go to North Queensland. They get on the bell by a very good Cowboys side. So some consistency starting to come for the Warriors. They've dropped Conrad Harrell, which is a massive shock, I suppose, in New Zealand. He's the go-to man. He's the strike player. So it puts all players now on notice. They want some more consistency, and I think at home they will beat the Titans.
Following that, it's the Knights and Cowboys up there at Hunter Stadium. The Knights, the wheels have come off there, while the Cowboys, they're the form team of the competition. Yeah,
for the Cowboys, 4 wins in a row. They were extremely poor at the start of the season. So both these sides have done a form reversal. One started red hot, one started poor, and they've swapped positions. So I'd expect the Cowboys to keep rolling forward. This is the game where Bo Scott and Jeremy Smith bashed Jonathan Thurston at the start of the season. I think there's going to be a bit of payback coming. Obviously, Bo Scott is out. He's announced he's going to leave Newcastle as well, which is probably a bit of a shock to the players. I just think the form is riding the way of the Cowboys. They're going to play in Newcastle, which is pretty tough to go and get a victory, but I think the Cowboys will be good enough to win.
The annual Anzac Day clash between the Roosters and Dragons, geez, it looks a belter this year.
Oh, the Dragons, 5 in a row, the form side of the competition, leading the competition against probably one of the favourites in the competition. So the Roosters have been pretty good the last few weeks, but they haven't got a victory. They're just letting themselves down in some little things. I think for the halves, I thought James Maloney was really good last week, a guy that's been under pressure, but Mitchell Pearce wasn't at his best last week. So they've got to try and get two halves playing extremely well together. For the Dragons, they're just defending the house down. They're conceding only one try a match. They're not scoring too many points to win, but when you're a very good defensive side, it gives you not many points you need to score, so it gives you confidence. It's a big clash for the Dragons. If the Dragons are able to win this week, I will put them on merit that they're a genuine contender, but I would just think the Roosters will be good enough to get a victory.
The Roosters without Jared Warrior-Hargraves, how does that affect them?
Yeah, it certainly affects the physicality and the go forward, but I think the depth of the Roosters squad is extremely well built. Dylan Napa gets a chance to come into the starting side. They will just roll forward. I think Trent Robinson, and I've heard him speak this week, that they go to the War Memorial on Friday. They do a lot of history in the past memories. So they put a lot of thought in this game about respecting what Anzac Day means. And I think on the back of that, that'll give them a bit of a confidence boost to win.
Storm and Sea Eagles, always a great clash as well. These two have had some famous games over the past, 3 or 4 years.
Yeah. They have, yeah. I don't think it's the same Manly football side that we've seen for the past couple of seasons. They're in a hole. They're in a massive hole. Losing players, struggling for form and depleting points easily, which is not what Manly's all about. They're that tough footy side that you're going to get in the dogfight with. So, the halves are under pressure and will continue to be under pressure. They don't have many forwards. I think Melbourne Storm are one of the most informed sides in the competition. I think they execute their plays best out of anyone in the competition. They play very simple, but they do it extremely well. I think Marika Korobedi is exciting to watch at the moment, the form winger of the competition, which sometimes you don't give wingers much of a rap, but he's been going great. I think Melbourne put a big score on Manly in Amy Park.
Wrapping up Anzac Day, it's the Broncos and Eels up there at Suncorp Stadium. Broncos, of course, had that tight loss to the Dragons last week, while the Eels, they were pretty good up there in the Hunter.
Yeah, that's right, the Eels. Well, they struggled to win away from home, but they did that last week. It was a nice sort of swaying match against Newcastle. They were good enough to win. I thought Chris Sandow showed some touches of class last week. I thought the Broncos were really disappointing against the Dragons last Friday night. They dropped 1,000 balls. Their completion rate was poor. And at the end of the game, Corey Parker gave Ben Hunt the ball into a hole trying to win the game. To me, that's Irish. That's back to front. The halfback should put the forward into a hole. I think Ben Hunt played good 2 weeks ago. He still needs to work on some game management and be the dynamic lifter of the game. They're at home, so I'm just going to tip the Broncos to win in a close one.
Sunday afternoon, the Panthers and Sharks out there at Pepper Stadium. The Sharks, they're rolling pretty nicely.
Yeah, they're going extremely well. They started the year pretty poor. They made some basic errors at the start of the year, and their kicking game was pretty poor. What they did last week in the wet was tremendous. They were about 31 from 35 completed sets. Their kicking game was okay in the back. They just want to get in the dogfight with you and play physically. The forwards are very good for the Sharks. They play extremely tough. I thought Luke Lewis had one of his best games of the season in the wet. Valentine Holmes has got that touch of class, and Jack Bird just airs that bit of confidence when he's going to touch a ball. It seems like there's something around it. So if they hold the football, they'll beat anyone in a dogfight. And the Panthers have won 1 out of the last 5, and they've only beat Manly. So I think their form is down. They've got players injured. They need Peter Wallace or they need Jamie Soward to come back just to calm them down and give them the game plan. They were poor at Gold Coast last week. I expect the Sharks to get a good victory again at Sunday.
Wrapping up round 8, it is the Rabbitohs and Raiders up there in Cairns. The Rabbitohs, they're really struggling without Adam Reynolds, while the Raiders, they had that good last-ditch win over the Tigers at Leichhardt last week.
Yeah, I sort of look at the first half last week. It's 22-0, and I thought the Raiders were extremely poor. So there's still some things they need to pick up. Momentum in rugby league can change, and with momentum, points will come. So second half, it's probably one of the best wins the Raiders have ever had under Ricky Stewart, or for the last 10 years. So some good culture there and good character that they showed. But I think the Rabbitohs, they're certainly missing Adam Reynolds. They were extremely poor the last few weeks. But I'm thinking a good football side. Sutton will come back. It'll give them a bit of a confidence boost. It's in Cairns. I would just expect the Rabbitohs to come back to their clinical best, work on being very basic, building a game plan, and be good enough to beat the Raiders.
Just running through your tips again then, Brett, for round 8.
Yeah, we'll start Friday night. We'll start with the Tigers. And we've got obviously 5 games on Saturday. I'll go Warriors, Cowboys, Roosters, Storm, and Broncos to finish our Anzac Day. And then Sunday's 2 games has got the Sharks and the Rabbitohs to round the weekend out.
Busy weekend of NRL. Enjoy Anzac Day.